As I often have vivid dreams, most often involving some sort of catastrophic disaster, this is the first post I have made so far. This current one was more disturbing than usual. I am in public surrounded by a crowd of families, couples, children, all going about their business. Suddenly, a red vortex appears on the ground. People stare at it in bewilderment. The red swirling circle makes a loud humming sound and vibrates the ground near it. No one can see through the swirling red vortex, and it fills me with a sense of dread. Suddenly, more vortexes appear on the ground and begin to swallow people whole, killing them instantly. They appear on concrete grass, hills, and other landscapes. No one is safe. The more red circles appear, the more the ground shakes and vibrates. Panic sets in from all sides, and I run to escape. None appear on water. Within minutes, all the red vortexes disappear at once. The people that survive begin to contemplate a battle plan and hold hands with each other, making a large circle of their own in order to summon the red vortexes again, in order to fight them head on. Everyone moves in a giant circle, shuffling the ground beneath them. The plan works and the red circles appear once again, and I fall into one of them, prepared for battle. Inside the circle, everything is blood red. Alien figures in skin-tight red bodysuits resemble humans, but have fish-like flippers for hands, and they all lay down facing upwards on what seems to be operating tables. They are unable to move, strapped down to these tables, having thousands of cables connected to themselves through their flippers. The cable wires seem to be connected to some type of technology that forces open vortex from above these beings to feed off humans, falling through them. All of them are faceless with nothing but open mouths. As humans enter this dwelling place, the beings begin to convulse and scream. The permanent cables attached to them begin to vibrate and send shockwaves through their bodies. The vortexes now above us begin to close and leave us in darkness. That's when I wake up. In reality, my mom passed away when I was 8 years old from lung cancer. I'm 21 now. Last night I dreamed that she killed herself. She was in a hallway and shot herself in the head. I kept asking people what happened and why there were no witnesses, but finally someone admitted that there were. They just didn't want to tell me what happened. They acted like they didn't care and I shouldn't care, and it drove me crazy. I woke up inside the dream and was in a room with my grandfather. I remembered that my mom died from lung cancer, and I tried to tell him about how I dreamed that she committed suicide. After I said it, there was complete silence, and I woke up again. But I was standing in the rain. All the while, I was still technically asleep. At this moment, I can still see the gap in her head. I don't know if this is the right place to discuss this, but I've been wanting to explain this for years, but it confuses me so much. Ever since I was around 3 or 4 years old, I have had the same nightmare every Christmas Eve. As in, it's exactly the same dream, and so vivid that I clearly remember it even now while awake. I didn't really have it last year because I tried to calm myself down before I slept. Basically, in my nightmare, I'm in bed trying to sleep on Christmas Eve, and I can hear my mother, Nan, and Grandma tidying up the kitchen downstairs, and the plates and stuff are making lots of noise while being tidied away. As the last set of plates my mom goes to put in the cupboard we have, there is a weird sound that kind of takes over the whole nightmare. It's a sound that starts quietish, and just starts getting louder and louder. Each time there's a sound, and it mixed with the sound of the plates falling and smashing on the kitchen floor. And then my mom, Nan, and Grandma run away and just leave the nightmare, I guess. Then there's a sound like bells, but it's a horrible, distorted version of bells children would want to hear on Santa's sleigh, which is followed by a really loud bang on the roof of the house. where Santa lands. The nightmare is kind of taken over by that sound I described before, and my mind goes black. A figure starts walking across the landing at the top of the stairs towards my room, and their eyes are slightly glinting, and they walk in my room and stare over me. I then see something shiny in their hand, which they proceed to hurt me with in any way they can before they turn around and leave. Then I wake up. My parents have said I never used to sleep on Christmas Eve at all, which made it very difficult to be putting presents out. What scares me even more is how did a 3-year-old create this nightmare? A nightmare that still haunts me today, especially the sound I described. I have a lot of strange nightmares and surreal dreams, but these 2 dreams are some of the worst I've ever had, and the same terrifying old woman appeared in both. So in my dreams, I'm usually not myself. Usually my dreams revolve around other people, and I'm simply a spectator. Basically, I'm the camera in movies. So in the first nightmare, 2 brothers, 8 and 12, are playing in the woods. They're having a good time and are building a fort made out of sticks and logs that they gathered. From the sidelines, watching them, is an old lady. She's probably in her 60s or 70s, and she looks like a really nice grandmother. She has gray hair pulled back in a long ponytail, wearing big dangling earrings and clunky bracelets, and a few nice necklaces. She's also wearing an orange sundress that comes down around her ankles and sandals. She's smiling and watching the boys. Eventually, they need to go find more sticks for the fort, and so the younger brother wanders off into the woods to collect more, leaving the older brother alone with the woman watching him. Noticing the younger brother is gone, the old woman steps out from behind the tree and proceeds to attack the boy. She breaks every bone in his body. In my dream, I could hear him screaming for help and yelling no and please, and it was absolutely chilling. Even though I was not a person in the dream, I do know that for some reason the older woman killed him off out of love. Even though I'm not sure why, I woke up absolutely creeped out by what I had just dreamt. And the second dream the old lady appeared in was shorter, but still pretty weird. I am actually me in this dream. I'm down in my bedroom, which is in the basement, but I have windows down there because my house was built into the side of a hill. My house is on the outskirts of some woods, and in my dream I'm hiding behind the curtains of my window, sneakily peering out into the woods. It's probably mid-afternoon and I'm seeing rustling in the woods. I first think it's a bear or some deer, but strangely, the same old woman wearing the same strange bright ensemble appears. She's walking slowly through the woods outside my bedroom, pulling behind her some old medieval cart. The cart is piled high with the carcasses of deer and naked bodies of people. And that's all I remember from both dreams. Who is this old lady, and why does she keep appearing in terrifying ways? Now, I always write down my dreams and nightmares when I wake up, each time I have one, so I don't forget details. I was in the city I was born in. I currently live about 12 kilometers away from there. A car pulls up, and the driver, which is a husband to a pregnant lady that is about to give birth, asks me for a hospital. I don't know why, but I gave him 2 hospital names, and asked him which one you prefer. He angrily said that it doesn't matter, just point me to a hospital. As I start to give him directions, vampires attack them and eat them both, but not me. I froze for a moment. Then I got this scary look by one of them, which is a huge guy about 6'6". I started running till I arrived in a square in the city. I saw my old teammates there and we ran together to my neighborhood. Now where I used to live is like a maze. It has narrow paths that only humans can go through, and they are always dark, especially at night. We lost the vampires in the maze, and we head to one of my old teammates' house, which is so close to my own house. Then we locked and sealed the doors. All the time I was scared and running like it was the end of the world, and I ran a very long route. I am an athlete, but I definitely can't run that long, and as soon as we locked the doors I realized my family might be in danger. But then my alarm clock woke me up, and there were hundreds of vampires. I woke up with a pretty high heartbeat. I dreamt I was back in high school and one of my friends tried getting me to ditch our English class together during lunch. I told her I wasn't so sure about the idea, and before she could convince me otherwise, the bell rang. After that, we decided to just part ways while texting another to tell another about how our time apart will go. Once I send her the last message, I shut my phone off and walk into class. The moment I take my seat, the tardy bell rings, and I notice the teacher isn't around. I took this as an opportunity to lay my head down for a bit. I guess I fell asleep while waiting, because I wake up and there's a whole other group of students in the class. Funny thing is, my old high school is small, and these people weren't anyone I'd recognize around the tiny campus. What made me begin asking questions was that it was already dark outside, and they all looked so depressed. I look at the board to understand what was going on. I'm not sure if this is because of the dream, or because I rarely have my glasses on in my dreams, but I couldn't read what was on there. Then I face the door and see someone standing with 2 large fire extinguishers. He has green eyes, brown hair, and the biggest smile on his face. He then makes his way to the middle of the classroom. I can't remember what he said, something about greeting our savior. Not a second after the fire extinguishers go off, and smoke is everywhere, I went into a coughing fit, and I guess I was knocked out. When I woke up, I had been placed sitting against the wall and saw the carpet floor had red puddles around me. What had scared me was when I had looked to see everyone in the classroom was laying in disoriented positions, all dead and bloodied. The closest corpse next to me was the brown-haired male. His arm was stretched out in my direction, eyes and mouth was wide, open in terror. As he lay in a puddle of blood, I began to hyperventilate and faced the only exit in the room while tears began to form. There I saw a man in all black, a turtleneck under a large trench coat that went down to his thighs, with white fluff on the hood, baggy pants, leather gloves, and boots that stopped below the knee, having the same white fluff on it. Once I had gotten to his face, I saw he wore some sort of cloth that covered his whole face and rest of his neck that a turtleneck didn't cover. Over that was a blue dragon mask, slipped onto the side of his head. It also had white fluff, but around the mask. The moment I blinked, his face was too close for comfort. At this moment, I woke up in fear, or so I thought. First thing I did was start crying and sat up from my bed, but once I did that, I heard a female's voice telling me I disappoint him. Once I did that, I felt thrown back on my bed, only to have another nightmare. Thank you for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, please leave a like, share, subscribe, and click the bell for notifications. And if you have an experience or a story to tell, feel free to email me at the address listed in the description. And remember, hell is empty, and the devils are here.